Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd make just a quick advisory video here. 5 don'ts. Just because I haven't addressed the subject directly in quite some time. There are a lot of new people here. And the subject is email. I leave my email on every video. I encourage you to email me. Am thickly embroiled now in many, many, many dozens, maybe more than 100 ongoing email conversations, ongoing email correspondence of one kind or another, updates, hand holding, a shoulder to cry on, a listening ear, all that sort of stuff. And I love it. Absolutely love it. But there are new people here, and it has occurred to me, it has happened a few times in the last couple of weeks. It has occurred to me that not everybody knows how to email, or that people sometimes think that this feels really weird to say in this little corner of BookTube, but it does happen. Sometimes people feel that someone that they're watching on a screen is not a real person. And so their basic courtesy, their basic sense of consideration that would exist otherwise, lapses. I have had that in the last couple of weeks happen to me in emails, BookTube-related emails, enough times so that I felt like I needed to come up with a list of things, a list of basic email etiquette. I think this applies to anybody, but it certainly applies to me. That I thought we might go through just quickly, just quickly. And the first don't, it's 5 don'ts. And don't number 1 is the most obvious one. It's the one that I mention all the time. Don't send a dissertation. If you send a 1,000-word email, a 2,000-word email, or as 2 weeks ago I got a 6,000-word email, if it's that long, I'm probably not even going to read it, and I'm certainly not going to respond to it. That's ridiculous. That is an egregious misuse of email, and you know it as well as I do. That's why I mentioned the whole thing about not really thinking that that person is real. So I don't have to indulge, I don't have to obey the normal strictures that I would ordinarily do. You would never in a million years send someone you know a 6,000-word email. What I'm trying to get at here is that you do know me. This is real. This is not parasocial fakery. This is real. So don't number 1 is don't send me a 1,000-word email. That is not what email's for, and you know it as well as I do. So don't do it. Don't number 2 would be a thing that's happened 3 times in the last 2 weeks. Don't just lob something at me. The link to a blog, the link to a Substack, the link to a video, just no subject line, and no body of the email, just the link to whatever it is. That is incredibly rude. Don't do that. Tell me about why you're sending it. Tell me about why you think I might be interested in it. Not only is that incredibly rude to just lob something at me, like I'm sitting around twiddling my thumbs, eager for something to look at or read, without any acknowledgement from you, without any contextualization from you. Not only is that incredibly rude, but it's also not secure. That could easily be a phishing expedition. That could easily be a bot drawing your name out of my inbox address book in order to lob some link that's full of malware. I am, of course, going to not only ignore those emails, but delete them even unlooked at. So, if you're an actual person and not a bot, and you're doing that, stop doing that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't number 3 is a rarer thing, but it does happen. It has happened in 2025, where you send me something you want me to read and critically assess, whether it's a piece of your own writing or a piece of someone else's writing that I'm not quite sure what I think about this. Could you read this and really work it up for me? Tell me really what's going on here. What do you make of this? Where the sender of the email in a circumstance like that is making it very clear that they don't just want, they don't just want my off-the-cuff reaction. They don't want, I thought that was a whole lot of nonsense. They don't want that. And I've had, not this year, but I've had email senders who did this and then specifically told me, I don't really want just your off-the-cuff reaction. I'm wondering if you could parse this for me, if you could analyze this for me. I really need the arguments against it all lined up neat and well written, and you're such a nice writer. No. Greasing the turkey like that doesn't work. What you are asking me to do if you do that is work. What I've just described is what I do for a living. It's what I do for a living. You're asking me to do work for you, and you are of course not asking, intending, or are going to pay me. You are not going to pay me $350 an hour. You're asking me to do work for you for free. And in any other circumstance, if you thought the other person, the person on the other end of your email was a real person, you wouldn't do that. I feel confident you wouldn't do that. That is largely known as rude. So what I'm asking for in this email etiquette video is don't do that. I am not going to write back and scold you. I am not going to write back and tell you, I don't mean to scold you, but you are asking a professional to do his job for you for free. In fact, I'm not going to write back to you at all. I have long since stopped doing that. I just ignore such things. And it can lead to wounded feelings. Often the person who is sending that kind of an email isn't really thinking that they're being offensive, that they're being rude. You nevertheless are. Don't number 4 is don't expect a response to an email if the email is a completely self-contained ship in a bottle that isn't asking for a response. Email is correspondence. Correspondence means you are corresponding with someone. If you are dumping a diary entry on me, well, if it's short enough, if it's an email length instead of a dissertation, well, I might read it. It's a weird thing to do, but I might read it. But if you expect me to respond, that must be obvious in the email. Now, I'm not talking about the handful of emails that I occasionally get from people who outright tell me that there is no reason to respond and then get huffy when I don't. I'm not talking about that. That level of passive aggressiveness is its own answer. I'm not really talking about that. If you tell me not to respond to your email, I'm not going to. I'm going to delete it. But if you write something that implies that you want me to respond but doesn't say it, that's not good enough. I have to be involved in this. If you're just blathering is such a negative word. If you're just talking, if you write an email where you're just talking and you don't really care whether I'm listening, you don't want to know what I think about any of it, you're not waiting for any kind of response from that at all, well, I don't know why you would do that in an email, but people do it with me. I don't know if they do it with other people who leave their emails on their videos, but they do it with me, and I would appreciate it if you have an inkling in that direction. If you don't, email is correspondence. It is a correspondence between two people, meaning you are writing to me and wanting a response from me. If you just go on and on and on, paragraph after paragraph about what's disappointing you today, and then end with enough, like I'm calling an end to my email here. I'm not asking you if you think it's enough, and I'm not asking you for a response of any kind. I was performing, and now I'm intentionally stopping myself. Again, I want to point out, that's incredibly rude to do. You would not do that if you met a friend on the sidewalk, which is exactly what email is. You wouldn't do that in a conversation with someone else. I feel certain of that. And the last don't is don't expect me to treat your emails like homework. So if you write an email that isn't 1,000 words long, so I am going to read it, but it's rapid fire. It's got 6 different points, 6 different subjects. What about this? What about that? What about this? And I respond with an email in which I go on about one of those subjects. That particular subject, the third on your list. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And maybe I give you some of my thoughts. Okay. If I respond to you that way, under no circumstances whatsoever should you respond by saying, interesting. And what about my other points? No, no, that is not a correspondence. That is you giving me a homework assignment. And little Timmy has only done 20% of the assignment. What about the rest of it? I wouldn't want to fail you. So don't do that. Don't do that. I will occasionally fall for that. Unlike the rest of the things on this list, I will occasionally fall for that the first time. When somebody sends me a bunch of subject matters and I respond with the one that interested me at the moment. No, not saying we can't circle back to other subjects in time, but I respond to the one that interests me at the moment. And the person writes back and says, yeah, and what about the rest of my points? That's a fair trap. I can't know ahead of time that you're going to do that. Once someone does that, well, then I'm not gonna write back and say, sorry, I misjudged you. I'm just not going to write back at all. I'm just going to delete the whole thread. And I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to delete any of these. So, and 99.9% of you get it, because otherwise I wouldn't have so many ongoing email correspondence. So I just wanted to stress that, mainly because it's been happening to me lately with a little bit greater frequency than usual. I don't know if that's because I've passed a subscriber milestone or whatnot. No idea. It can't be solely because of that, because these emails are from people, not bots. And the bots are what got me over that subscriber milestone, as they get everyone over every subscriber milestone. So it's just a few people. It's just on my mind. So if we could remember that, those basic etiquettes. Don't write me a dissertation. Don't give me homework. Don't expect me to work. If you want to have a job for me, then put it to me, and I'll let you know whether or not I want you to, and I'll send you over a contract. But otherwise, don't expect me to work for free. Don't just think, well, Steve is a responsometer, so if I see something, I just lob it at him. He'll watch it, and he'll write me a dissertation back. Of course he will. Well, I'm not going to contextualize it in any way. I'm not going to warn him that that's what I'm going to send him. I'm not going to ask him if he's interested in it. I'm just going to throw it at his face. Just don't do any of those things. Just do email the way email is supposed to be done. It's a miracle. The last thing it needs is to be misused. So there you go. Just a quick video about email etiquette, just so that we know we're on the exact same page. At least I can't control what you do, but at least you know now that if you do these egregiously rude things, I'm just going to ignore you. You're wasting your time. I'm not going to write back. So instead, I'm urging you to write to me the right way. What'd you read just now? What'd you think about it? You can do that in 3 lines. You do that, and you'll get a response from me, especially if I'm dodging a deadline. A number of you have pointed out over the years that sometimes I write you an email, and you don't write back for a few days, and then you write back, and you immediately say, sorry for the delay in response. But sometimes I'll write to you, and I get a response right away. And then I write back right away, and I get another response right away, and that's when I always know Steve's avoiding a deadline, because you people know me too well. If you do that, email like that, I'm here all day. I'm online all day. So that will stir up a conversation, and that's what email is. So I encourage you to do that, believe it or not, despite the rest of this video. I encourage you to do that. Just don't do it wrong. Anyway, I'll wrap this up for now, whatever this video is, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.